Hello, beautiful souls. All right. I think we're there. Welcome. Welcome to my channel. So nice to have you here tonight. For those of you that are already in 2021, a wonderful, bright blessings for a happy new year. It's just wonderful to have you here. So thank you. Thank you for joining me this evening. And tonight I'm going to be on and off all night long. And I will be doing readings for your tarot card of the year. And so tonight's tarot chat, the intention here is to share with you, I just want to share with you some different thoughts of mine on the different ways to calculate your card for the year, as well as I thought we could look at the general energy for 2021. And intuitively what I'm picking up on, as well as looking to the energy of the number 5 and how each of our cards are going to kind of play out in the energy of the number 5. Hello, Mystics Haven. Happy New Year to you. So I was going to do a fancy on-screen whiteboard, but I decided just to do it old school. That's why this meditation cushion and the whiteboard are here behind me, so I can actually do some calculations with you when we get to that. So yeah, so I've chosen my decks for tonight, and I'm doing this very differently than last year. I did it all pre-recorded last year, and I decided that I wanted to do it live. And I will have at least one guest reader on for some of the spots. And if there are other readers that would like to join in for any of the segments, just let me know and I can add your info to the description. So it would be a privilege to have any of you here. Hey, Kyle Liz, Happy New Year. Welcome, welcome. So let's just start by thinking about the number 5 and how we can best navigate a number 5 year, and whether or not you associate that with the sacred shape of the pentacle, or you associate it with the energy of the Hierophant card. And there's so many other associations with the number 5, but let's just kind of start with those two, and how knowing everything that's happened in 2020 and how we can move forth and be in the energy of the number 5. Because part of the readings that I'm going to be doing from the top of the next hour are looking at your card for 2021 and how your card for 2021, how your card for 2021, so weird saying that, isn't it? It feels like we're in the future, is going to react, because these are archetypes, right? And these archetypes have energies. They have a life to their own. And so when you place each of these archetypes in the energy of number 5, they are going to respond. They're going to be comfortable. They're going to maybe be uncomfortable. They might really feel supported. They might feel resistant, as well as a myriad of other experiences. So yeah. So let me know in the chat or in the comments later, because I will be reviewing the comments for all of the pieces later, how you see the number 5. Like, how do you feel in the number 5? We are moving from an emperor year, so a year of a lot of structure, a year of confinement, solidity, foundation, into a year that's taking on a very different shape. So when we expand from the 4 to the 5, we do have more space. We do have more space. And I didn't really want to plan too much for this, because I think there's a magic to numbers as well too. And when I think of actually like drawing a square and then changing the square into a pentagram, and thinking about the shape of a pentagram, whether it's filled in with all the lines so it looks like a star, or whether it's more of a geometric shape. It's a really cool shape, actually. Like have you ever thought, like, what if you could design a pentagonal room? Or what if your space, your home, were pentagonal? So what does it mean to have that extra side, that extra piece? Have you ever thought about that? This is just a random thought of mine, so I'm just throwing that out there because I really feel that in the 4-year, there was a lot of structure, a lot of restriction. And Mystics Haven says, your year is the Tower, you think. And you see the 5 as freedom. So Kyle, Liz, let me know what numerology comes to mind for the number 5. It's also a bit of an awkward number, like it's not, just think of the convenience of the number 5. It's easier to find a table for 4, not that we're going out dining in restaurants these days, than a table for 5. If you're traveling with a group of 5, it's a little more awkward to find, for example, a hotel room. Like a 5 it's not a simple number by any means. Hello, Andrew. What are you saying here? In Joshua Tree Park in California, an architect created a sacred geometrical space where now there are sound bowl sessions. Apparently the shape of the walls amplify the sound vibrations. And are there 5 walls? Because with the energy of the pentagram, like, let's not forget, there's 5 elements. And if you think of Chinese medicine and we think of the intersection of all of the elements, if you think of like witchcraft, Wiccan, we go with that, like a Wiccan slant, and we think of the intersection of the elements and the power and the magic of the pentacle, it's really kind of it's a huge shift from the number 4. So I feel a tremendous amount of spaciousness that's coming, and I feel like it's something it's very much an unknown kind of energy, an unknown kind of year. We can't really predict what's going to happen in a 5. Oh, that's what I just said. Okay. Unpredictability is the most positive word that you have come across. Yeah, and I don't want to get hung up on the 5s in the minor arcana in the tarot, because 5 is not always a bad number, and it's very hard for us those of us who read RWS clone decks most of the time, to see the light in the number 5. But I think there is something there. And as I go through the readings tonight, and I hope some of you will join me for some of them, and when 5s come up, one of the challenges is to, especially because we're in a 5-year, is to really contemplate the interplay of the 5 of Wands in a 5-year, the 5 of Swords in a 5-year, right? The 5 of Cups in a 5-year. So what is sometimes we forget the connection between the Hierophant or the Shaman or the Pope. There's lots of different names that the number 5 card goes by, and the 5s in the minor arcana. So I think it's really fun, actually, to really pause a little bit and reflect upon some of this. Luvia says 5 feels dynamic. Happy New Year to Deborah. Welcome to Luvia. Thanks for joining in the conversation. Oh my goodness, Andrew, 16 walls, and it's called an integratron. That is very cool. Very cool. Hey there, Jen. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so this is going to be one of the questions that I reflect on tonight as we go through these readings. And this is not going to be a long chat here. I just want to go through a couple of reflections that I've had on calculating your card for the year. And I am not a mathematician, but I do like mathematics, and I'm really interested in patterns and things like that. And I know all of us are, right? Because in sacred geometry, in the tarot, in everything metaphysical, we observe patterns, and patterns reveal a lot. So I just wanted to start with, and I, I don't think we can credit these methods to certain people, but I'm going to start with one way to calculate your card of the year that is very common. And hopefully the glare on the whiteboard won't be. And I'm going to start with the birthday, January 1st. Okay. So if your birthday is January 1st, let's see, let's get I need to find a really healthy pen. Just bear with me. No. Let me find a color my kids won't like. Okay. There. Well, I don't know if you can see this. So if your birthday is January 1st, we're adding 1 plus 1 plus 2021. I just need to see if you can see that. No, you can't see that. You cannot see that. Okay. Just give me a second. I should have tested this. That's too bad. Okay, let me try. See if that you can see down here. No, it's not going to work. Okay, I'm going to do the math in my head. And I can say this out loud, and I can show you my spreadsheet as well too. But it's a little awkward to show you the spreadsheet. Let's go to that, because I've done a lot of work with that spreadsheet today. Okay. No, I don't want you. I'm going to close you, and 1 second. There we go. And then I'm just going to, okay, good. So I'm little and the spreadsheet is big. Okay. Whoa, spread right. Okay, so just so you know, I can't see the comments. I'll pop back and forth because I need to point to my Excel spreadsheet. So if your birthday is January 1st, and so I'm going to start first of all with the method that I taught last year. And this is, I don't know who this comes from or where this comes from, but this is the way that I have always done this. And so this column here, so we're in January, this is January 1st, and we're in a 5-year. And version 1 here, this is the way that I did it last year. So 1 plus 1 plus 5 is 7. And then if I go to here, this is my, sorry, don't mean to make you seasick, version 2, 1 plus 1 plus 2021 is 2023. And then when you add those up, it's still 7. And if we go to January 2nd, 1 plus 2 plus 2021 is 2024, and it's 8. And what I want you to see here is that there's a pattern, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then we add another one, 14. If we go back over to here, then you can see this same pattern that emerges. Sorry, in version 1, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. Now I'm going to just stick with this. I'm just going to speak to this sheet here because this is where I think we get lost in which method should we choose. So on this particular page, I'm adding the month, the day, and the number 5. And I'm going to try to do this slowly so you don't get seasick. In the method that I learned, you reduce the months and you reduce the days to, you reduce them by 1 if possible. So the number 10 is the number 1, the number 11 is 1 plus 1, 2, 12 is 3, 13 is 4, 14 is 5, 15 is 6. So for example, January 15th is 1 plus 6 plus 5 is 12. These columns here are different methods that I was playing with today. And method number 2 also gets 12. Method number 3 gets 21. But if you look here at the heart of these numbers, there is the common reduced number of 3. So 1 plus 2 is 3, 1 plus 2 is 3, and 2 plus 1 is 3. I'm going to scroll down where we go to, so for example, and I'll go to the other sheet for this one. So this is January 24th. This is 24th here. So January 24th, 1 plus 6 plus 5 is 12. And in every single variation, I got 12. So let's just go to January 24th in my version 2 spreadsheet. Okay, so January 24th, January, so 1 plus 24 plus 2021 is 2046, which reduces to 12 because 2 plus 4 is 6 plus 6 is 12. So regardless of the way that you do it, you get the same number. But that is not the case as we move away from January for a lot of the numbers. Look over here. I should check in with the chat, see if anybody's saying anything. Hello, I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat and then I'll go back to what I was saying. I said hi to Deborah. My voice is here. Oh, red was fine. Okay, well, whatever, we're doing this now. Nice to have you hear my voice. Okay, so it is simple. It's not complicated. And what's going to happen is that regardless of the way that you do it, you're going to have one number or another number. You're not going to have multiple choices. It's just the way that patterns and numbers work. So for example, January 9th, you're going to either have 15 or 6. And so you can keep an eye on the 15th card and the 6th card. So this is the Lovers, this is the Devil. And you know, if you read tarot, that there is a relationship between the Lovers and the Devil. And it's just some of the cards, we're not familiar with the relationship, but I think this is a really good exercise to see that. So some of them, it's a little more tricky because here we have 11, 11, and 20, but these all add up to 2. So you could do reflections on the number 11, which is, if you read this as justice, and 20 as judgment, justice and judgment. Interesting, right? To have those two as reflections. You could also reduce and look at the High Priestess, if you wanted to bring that into the mix as well too. And then I want to go to another month. So I'm gonna scroll. So everybody take a deep breath here. I'm going to scroll over to December. Okay. So here, this is my method. This is the method that I was taught. And so for the month of December, I have the number 3. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Uh-oh, why are you not scrolling? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the reason for this is that we only reduce once. So here, 1 plus 8 is 9, and 1 plus 9 is 10, and 2 plus 0 is 2, and 2 plus 1 is 3. And this is the method that I taught last year when I was doing these calculations. So in version 1, the method that I taught last year, 3 plus 1 plus 5 is 9. And if we go, okay, I'm gonna scroll over again, sorry. December, I didn't do all the months because I know this is the same for all the months. Okay, so if we keep the number 12 and we add 12 plus 1 plus 2021, we get 2023 and we still get 9. And the pattern is very, very similar. So my point here is that you just need to choose. I'm going to stop sharing and leave that stop screen. And then I'll go back and check in with you guys. So for some people, regardless of how you add it up, it's going to be the same number. And for other people, it's going to be, you're going to have 2 different numbers. And it's kind of fun because there's a relationship between those 2 numbers. And you can look at the interplay or the intersection or not. Or you just choose one method and you stick with that method, right? And you do whatever one resonates with you better. If it feels too weird to add and to reduce numbers, then don't do it. Do it the way where you just add the whole number of the month, the whole number of your date, the whole number of 2021, and then you put it together, and then you reduce the final number, which is a number between 1. It won't be a 1. It won't be 2. It'll be a number between 3 and 22, and then 22 is the Fool. So let me just check in with what you guys are saying here, and then I'll go back to what I'm doing. That's okay. Yeah, I am a bit of a so let's use Mystic Haven as an example. And you said you could see the red. Okay, well, let's try the red. So Mystic Haven is January 19th. So I don't know if you can see this. I can't see it. How can you see it? Okay, so 1 plus 19 plus 2021 is 11. Carry the 1, 4. 2041, 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Okay. And if we do it the other method, which is the method that I did last year. So 1 is still 1. 19 is 10 because 1 plus 9 is 10. And 2021 is 5. So if that's the case, oh my goodness, I really don't like doing this. So this version gives us 7. This version gives us 16. And so it would be up to you to choose whether you're going to follow the energy of the Chariot or you're going to follow the energy of the Tower. And I think it is a really beautiful exercise to see what the, to try to understand what the relationship is between the Chariot and the Tower, because there is one. There's many, actually. Oh, I'm good. I'm glad I'm not the only one that likes spreadsheets. So, yeah, and it's just really amazing to, I don't know, I think it's fun to play with these numbers. Yeah, so do you have any, I guess the reason I wanted to make this little bit before I start doing the readings is to not get hung up on the way that you calculate it, because numbers are energy too. Numbers are science, but they're also magic. And the way that numbers were, how that all came about, or I don't know the history of numerology, but it's just fascinating. And to see the patterns and to try to do a little bit of study. And I'm sure some of you in your tarot reference books there's a few different methods that go through the major arcana with, and they put them in 3 groups in 7s. And then there's other methods that divide the major arcana into 11 and 11. So they have a top row of 11 and then a bottom row of 11. And then do the correspondences between the top 11 and the bottom 11. And then other schools of thought do it 7, 7, 7. And then they look at the correspondences between the rows this way. And a lot of that numerology comes into play in those patterns as well, too. So you don't have to be restricted to just one card for 2021. Yeah. So Andrew asked, my well-tempered Claire asked Jen how 2020 felt. And yeah, they carry a vibration, don't they, Andrew? They sure do. And Jen had an up and down year. So I guess the question I want to leave you with, as a reflection, kind of closing up, and I know some of you are already in next year, but if 2020 was a 4-year, how did that square? How did the 4 feel for you? How did the 4 show up for you? And then in relation to your card for last year, how did the 4 affect your card? Was it like an annoying mosquito, or was it comforting? Was it good? Like, did it help? And there's some pretty obvious ways that enclosure came into play this year. Like, think about it. It's crazy how that on an international level, that 4 was very, very real. Right. So besides the obvious sense of restriction and isolation, is there any other way that 4 manifested for you? Because 4 is also, it's a tremendously stable number. So for you in this year, was there a shift that created a sense of, yeah, I've got this. Like, I really feel like my foundation was created this year. Like, this was a year of feeling really grounded and together. Did that arise for anybody? In what way was it fitting, Jen? In what way was temperance? And we can talk about this, when we're doing the live readings, but in what way was temperance fitting to be a 4-year? So the 4 supported the Hermit. Yeah, that makes sense. So how about those of you that had who had a Chariot card last year? Because I imagine having a Chariot, or what is another tarot card that's kind of willful? Like if you had a willful card for your card last year, I bet it didn't feel great being stuck in that box. You really must have had to find some new ways to exert your will. That makes sense. Yeah, it relates to family. Okay. So with the Temperance card, with the Temperance as your card for this year, it taught you to, and this is a very big yogic, it's a really big yogic teaching, right? We want to respond, not react. And temperance is such a beautiful experience to teach us how to respond and not react, right? So if it's a little bit out of balance, we add a little bit of this. If it's not quite salty enough, we add a little bit of salt. We don't add too much, right? Sometimes we need to add a little bit of bitter, or a little bit of sour, or a little bit of sweet. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's look at a couple more here. Oh, that's great, Mystics Haven. So you really felt like you moved through the energy of the devil. And I feel like in a 4-year, the devil was my card for last year too, still a few more hours in this year. It felt like I couldn't escape. Like I really had to manage and to focus on that. And I did some earlier on, I did a video reflecting on that. And I may do another video reflecting on my card for last year and this year as well too. Okay, and my voice. So what was your card for 2020, my voice? So you had Wheel of Fortune for 2020 or 2021? Oh, Andrew has, yeah. So yeah, if you tell anything to Andrew, he will remember. Hermit was last year, which was perfect year for you. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. So in a way, don't you feel that this can only help? And if everybody in your family, everybody in your circle understood the energy, the energetics of all of this, that it would be easier. It would be easier to understand, okay, so it's not about being controlled or being, we have free will. There's just an energy around us, and we learn to respond, and we learn to move through the energy, and that energy is presenting itself because we have something to learn. we wouldn't be in that energy, and that energy wouldn't be coming forth if we didn't need it to come forth. And also, I do understand, and I want to acknowledge that this is only one form of calendar, right? So not everybody in the world follows this calendar. And it would be really interesting. I don't even know, for example, in Japan, is there anybody in Japan that's watching? What is the year in Japan? I could actually quickly Google that. Or other calendars. Does anybody know off the top of their hat any other calendars to see what year it presently is in another year, in another calendar? That would be a cool thing to compare. If I go to present year in Japan, it doesn't give me the Japanese calendar. That's so silly. So it's Reiwa 3. So they're in a 3 year. Oh no, we're in a 5. Okay, so it's different. Hey, Michelle. Happy New Year to you. Oh, you're very welcome. You're so very welcome. The Hebrew calendar, Deborah says the Hebrew calendar is completely different. So I don't want to, confuse, discombobulate the situation. And at the same time, if you're curious, or if you live and your family practices lives in another part of the world where there's another calendar, then perhaps you want to take your month and your day of birth and then add that to the number of the year where you live. Like if you're not using this particular Gregorian calendar, and just see what comes up for you in that way, because it's the energy around you, right? You don't want to, how can I say this? Like you don't want to try to put something on that doesn't fit. You want to make sure that it fits. And that's why I was saying that it doesn't matter which way you calculate your number for next year. You just need to feel, oh yeah, okay, this makes sense to me. And if the reducing method doesn't make sense to you, then it doesn't make sense to you. $14.42. So 5 and 4 is 9, 10, 11. Wow, that's cool. That's really cool. Anyway, it's just absolutely, absolutely fascinating. Okay, so I'm going to show you the decks that I'm going to be using. I have been all over the place in choosing decks for the year ahead readings. And I'm going to do a similar spread that I did to last year. So I'm going to sort the tarot deck into elements. Elements into suits. And so you'll get one card from each suit. And then I'll also have 4 oracle decks on the table as well too. And we'll look at this spread, and you'll get about a 15-minute reading for each of the cards. And so I'm going to use the Bone Stone as the tarot deck. And one of the reasons I was going to use Pagan Otherworlds, but I decided to use Bone Stone because Bone Stone it evokes a lot of, it evokes feelings, it evokes energy, and it has this beautiful story. And I think it's really easy for you it's easier for you to reflect on a tarot deck, perhaps, that, that tells a story. So I'm going to be using the bone stone. And I'm sharing this with you because you might want to pull out 4 oracle decks and a tarot deck and do something similar for yourself too. And then I chose 4 oracle decks, 1 to represent water, 1 to represent earth, 1 for fire, and 1 for air. And the tarot deck that I chose for air is the Messenger cards by Sandra Coons. There's a lot of ravens in this deck, and I just, I really like this deck. And I find that it has a lot of feeling as well too. Like, I think it's going to respond very well to the tarot deck. And then, okay, and then for water, I'm going to use Oracle of Echoes. And I think it just makes sense to use one of Anna's decks. Anna's decks. Yeah, so this one I'm going to use for water to represent emotions. And I think this deck could also, I find this deck very mind of the mind as well too. But so I'm going to use that one. And then for earth, I'm going to use the same deck that I used last year. I'm going to use the Druid plant. And I will be pulling out the guidebook as a quick reference because I can do a quick glance at some of the medicine I'm not aware of. And then for fire. So fire is always tricky. And I think I asked you this before. If you were to choose an oracle deck that represented fire, so fire representing will, fire representing digestion, fire representing solar plexus chakra, fire representing, did I say will already? It's a hard one, right? Creativity, perhaps. So which oracle deck would you choose for fire? Balancing fire. It depends, right? On, like, if you had a dragon deck, I'm just thinking of that because I'm staring at a dragon in Anna's deck. Let's just see what you guys have to say here. Oh, Michelle, you got Journey of the Sacred Bee. That's wonderful. I just can't wait to have that deck in hand. Margaret Peterson is a good water deck. Yeah. Shamanic medicine feels very fiery. Yeah, dragon deck for fire. So there's 2 new dragon oracles that came out this year. And there's the old one, the old Hay House one. I don't know how old it is. And I purchased a Mythical Creatures deck this year, which I don't like. And so I'm still on the search for a dragon deck, a dragon oracle deck, because I would really love to have one in my collection. And I haven't found one. So what I'm using for fire, I'm going to explain why I'm using this for fire. I'm using Fantastic Being, Rebecca Lefebvre's deck for fire. And the reason that I'm using this deck to represent fire is because fire is also associated with magic. And I feel like there's a connection between, like, the wand, the magic wand, and the spark of creation and fire. And so I decided to use this deck. There's some mystery in this deck. And so the 2 oracle decks above You know, they have this more, the higher vibration, and the two oracle decks below are more grounded. Not that I would call Anna's deck grounded, but yeah. So any other suggestions for fiery decks? I see a question here. Dragon. You have, my voice has the Barbieri dragon. That's good to know. There's the two that came out of the UK this year. And I was looking at this one woman's website who is a dragon. I don't know if she's a dragon lord or a dragon master, or she's dragon expert of some kind. The artwork was okay. I just haven't found one I really love. And what element would be the standard RWS? Yeah, if we were to, was this, so there was a couple tarot tags this year. One was the rainbow tag, which was associating decks with color. And then there was the tag by Jen's Balanced Tarot, and I did that tag. And so that was that. So that was putting tarot decks, that was balancing tarot. Oh no, that was different, wasn't it? I think the exercise was to get earth. I'm going to have to go back. I don't remember. But Andrew, yes, I think the answer to the question is RWS is air. It's very much of the mind. But I'm sure other people have other opinions. And I can, for the most part, like if I pick Druidcraft, I'd say this is earth. And like this one, like I've got a couple decks here that are definitely water. Like this one is definitely water. This is Lonely Dreamer. I think that's fairly easy to do with tarot. So my intention is to have 4 oracles and 1 tarot deck. And the tarot deck's going to be showing in 5 places in the reading. So yeah. So is there anything else that you wanted to share before I just set up the table for the readings? Ooh, that's a primordial tarot. Would it be fire? Primordial tarot, would it be fire? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. What do you think, those of you that have primordial tarot? There's a lot of emotion in this deck. A lot of emotion. That's one of the reasons that I like it so much. Not sure. Not sure. Fire and earth. I really like this suggestion. So I could do this on my spreadsheet with all of my tarot decks and count to see what's what. That's a really good thing. Okay. So let's pull a card. Let's do a draw. Like I'm going to do a little message, and then I'm going to set up for the readings. So I'm going to, why don't we use primordial? Let's use primordial. Okay. Who would like to word the question for primordial tarot for so So if we're talking to a deck that's very earthy, and it's like, this is very much like Tarot of the Sheep for me, like it really helps to I feel like, you know, like get it out. Nothing is bottled up in this deck. It's all very free. So who would like to word a question that would help us to release it? Is there anybody that wants, I mean, I can do the question, but if there's anybody that wants to put a question into the chat. You knew I was going to say spreadsheet. I am behind in my Kwanzaa posts, and I've enjoyed those spreads so much. I can't believe how much I've journaled with those spreads. Nobody's posting a question. Maybe if I go to the other window, I can see. Got too many windows open here. Okay. Oh, PL, hello. Okay. Okay. So the question is, what is the collective release that we would all benefit from in 2021? What is the collective release that we would all benefit from in 2021? I'm getting like upper heart stuff. It's so this is Queen of Swords, right? I like that the sword is facing down to the ground. I really like that. Oh my goodness. I haven't really used this guidebook. I just wanted to read you something inspirational from the guidebook. Just give me 1 second here. Suit of Blood. Maybe if I go to the table of contents. You know what I'm just gonna speak intuitively here. I think that she also has one sword. So in one hand, in one side, the sword is pointing down. On the other side, there's a sword pointing up. She is entirely focused on something in the distance, like the sight is ahead. Yeah, swords are curled. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the Suit of Blood. So let's focus on the question. Oh, so yeah, 13. 13 is the Woman of Blood. The woman stands in stillness, only her chest heaving and with deep breaths as the adrenaline eases from her body. She has a flint stone knife covered in fresh blood from her recent kill. Maybe the prey she chose to hunt was stronger than she anticipated. Maybe she was unexpectedly attacked and had to defend herself from a beast. Either way, she had an experience that required a short burst of extreme aggression in order to preserve her own life. She had to act swiftly and decisively. Now that it is over, she struggles to regain physical, mental, and emotional equilibrium. You know what this feels like to me? It feels like the just tell you in a second. The divinatory meaning is swift decisions, aggressive attack or defense, and concentrated effort. Well, I was like, you know, when I see this card, I see her. Okay, so what I'm seeing we need to release is well, there's a few things. One is that the sense of fight or flight, that sense of, am I going to survive? Am I going to make it? You know, that panic, and that's reflected in that swiftness, but also she's looking so far in the distance. She's not here. She's worried about the next bad thing that's going to happen. And I feel that when we're not present, we miss the beauty of the moment. And so if what we need to release is, and it would make sense. Like that was one of the first things I thought when I started reading that. It makes sense that we chose a card that was jacked up adrenally. I mean, a lot of cards in this deck are jacked up adrenally, but she really is. She's the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Blood. And so we need to let that go. And from a healer perspective, this means really make sure you're always hydrated and to nourish. Oh, shoot, I gotta go. What time is it? I gotta go. Okay, I don't want to be late for the first reading. So thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being here. And I will be a couple minutes late probably because I need to lay out the cards and I just got distracted with all the chat. So I will see you in the next video, and just really think about what aspect of fight or flight are you ready to let go of, okay? All right, so thank you so much, and I'll see you in a few minutes. I'll be back on. Bye, everybody.